Our next inductee, a builder and a big influence on so many.
We didn't give up from the beginning to the end. That's good, actually, because there's no way you can afford to relax in these cars.
Originally from Scotland, the late Tony Morris Sr. started his motorsports career in motorbikes as a teenager before competing in endurance and rally racing events in the early 1960s. Morris came to Canada in 1967 with a pair of Cooper Minis gifted to him by British Leyland, where he was a test driver. He won the C and D sedan championships from 1967 to 1970 aboard the Minis. Morris then switched to a Camaro Heavy Chevy in 1970 and won regional championships in 1971 and 1975. He won a couple of notable events in the early 70s and became national champion in Sedan A2 in 1974. Morris moved to production class cars in the BF Goodrich Honda Series in 1980. He also competed in Canadian Rally Championships and later raced in the Players GM Motorsport West Series from 1987 to 1992.
Thing is that there's some really young guys in the series, and they feel very embarrassed getting beat by an old guy.
Outside of the race car, Morris was in charge of the racing division at Dunlop Tire Company during his time in Europe. He was later the team manager for Frank Allers, who won 5 Players GM West Championships. He spent multiple seasons as a head driving instructor and track manager at Westwood Motorsport Park before helping with the design and safety of a new track in Mission, BC following Westwood's closure. Morris was the official Western Canada FIA track safety inspector in the late 1980s and was a key contributor in setting up the Vancouver Indy Street Circuit. He also took care of Porsche Canada's Western media cars and was a TV personality through his show AutoCheck. He was a longtime council member of the SCC BC and was providing tires to Western Canada racers through Circuit Tire. Please welcome Tony Morris Sr. to the 2024 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame.
Presenting and accepting on behalf of Tony Morris is Gabriel and Mark Torley.
Good afternoon, everyone. First off, I'd like to thank Peter Lockhart, the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Induction Committee, my family, and everyone who was a part of my dad, Tony Morris's incredible career. I'm Mark Torley, and I'm the son of Tony Morris. It's an honor and privilege to accept this induction award on behalf of my dad. You may have noticed that our names don't match. That's because my dad's real name was actually Morris Torley. In the 1960s, while working as the head manager for Dunlop Tire in the UK, handling the Formula One and World Rally Series division, Dunlop didn't want him to race. But my dad wasn't one to let anything stand in the way of his passion. So he changed his name to Tony Morris and went racing anyways. That was the kind of person he was: determined, resourceful, and driven by the love of motorsport. He raced anything he could: cars on ice, motorcycles on ice, rally racing, and various forms of sedan racing. And when he moved to Canada in 1967, he kept the name Tony Morris to avoid confusion. Born in Johnstone, Scotland, my dad quickly became a major force in Western Canadian motorsport. As a driver, mentor, and ambassador for the sport, he left an undeniable mark. His early successes in rally and sedan racing, particularly with his iconic number 88 Heavy Chevy Camaro, earned him respect as both a fierce competitor and a beloved figure in the racing community. But his impact wasn't just on the track. When he wasn't running Circuit Tire or helping local racers with his expertise, he was a loving and dedicated husband, a hockey coach to my brother and I, and always keeping us active in sports. He provided me with invaluable guidance in my early 20s as I pursued my professional snowboarding career, and he played a huge role in the success of my brother Tony Morris Jr.'s racing career. Beyond his own racing achievements, my dad was deeply involved in shaping the sport. As manager of Westwood Racetrack, Race Drivers Committee Chairman, and head driving instructor, he worked tirelessly to nurture the next generation of drivers. He served as the Western Canada FIA Track Safety Inspector and played a key role in establishing the Vancouver Indy track. He also helped the Western Canadian Motomaster race team to multiple Players GM Motorsport Championships and became a familiar face on TV with AutoCheck. A longtime member of the SCCBC and the owner of Media Car Service, he managed the fleet of Porsche vehicles in Western Canada, always finding new ways to contribute to the sport he loved. My dad was a true pioneer in Canadian motorsport, and his induction into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame is a reflection of the lasting impact he had. Frank Allers, a longtime friend, teammate, and representative of the Hall of Fame, said, "Tony was not only a talented driver, but also a mentor and advocate who inspired countless individuals in the motorsport community. His legacy continues to influence the sport today." My dad passed away in July of 2016, but I know he'd be incredibly proud of this recognition from the Canadian motorsport community. On behalf of my family, thank you for this incredible honor.